Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Does it work? Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to go on?
Oh, wow, this is bright.
That's
light. And if there's any opportunity that people want to move maybe a little bit closer, that would be amazing. I think we want to keep this as a fairly open session, a communicative session. We want to hear your questions at any time. So this is maybe a little bit different from the other sessions that you've been to. We try to have the mic runners running all the time and take your inputs, whatever you are interested in. We are quite flexible. I think we have a good chunk of experience on this panel. Together, actually, both of the companies, Sage and Sage is part of the Breville Group, and Bosch is 2 centuries of business that are sitting here. And then I'm adding maybe a few years to that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a compliment. But
right, yes.
Yeah, I think, being in the business for so long, I think that is a testimony that something is going right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Thorsten. I'm responsible for the European business at Pattern. And I'm the moderator today, but I will also be happily taking any questions, obviously, that you might have. So it's an open panel. Good. Here we go. Great pleasure. Jason Straubinger from Bosch. He's heading sales in Europe at the Home and Comfort division. That has just rebranded from, you will talk more about that, right? From Thermotechnology. And based in Stuttgart, or Stuttgart actually in German. And then we have Dave from Sage. He's the president for Sage EMEA. And what we are trying to achieve over the next half an hour, maybe a little bit more, is to give you an understanding of what does business in Europe mean, very broadly. Because setting the foundation of a business in Europe means setting the foundation of being successful in e-commerce. And there are things like product compliance, all the languages that we have in Europe, the different countries, actually 2 economic regions with free flow of goods in the European Union or EEA, the European Economic Area. These are complexities that you need to master in order to be successful, and then you can also succeed in the e-commerce space. So we'll be trying to go very broad and give you this understanding. Please let us know what you are interested in. Okay.
You've got 41 minutes to go.
41 minutes? Okay, I will continue. Then I will sit down now. And I think globally, we are all facing headwinds to some extent, some of the other extent. There is pressure on the economies globally. Still, I would say Europe, with a 450 million population, that is slightly bigger than the US itself, but is also more diverse. And the retail sales in the European area are $3.7 trillion. Of that is 15% in e-commerce. So there is a huge amount of opportunity out there that any brand can go for. And we are trying to educate a little bit around how you do that right, or hopefully right. Good. So maybe we start with a small round of introductions. Obviously, I gave the top line introduction, but maybe you can go a little bit deeper on your career, Jason, and also Bosch Thermotechnology, Bosch Home Comfort. I would be curious, and Dave after that.
Cool.
Yeah, I will keep it very short, otherwise we are running out of time. Yeah, I'm Jason. I'm now working 25 years in sales, always helping brands to go into new markets, how to explain them, how to sell online and in retail, came up with a proper strategy, pricing and managing inventory and so on. doing this for multinational companies, very large organizations which have their own challenges internally, how to please all the stakeholders, how to work with local subsidiaries. And one of the companies I will work with is, for example, Kyocera, the printer manufacturer, setting up a European business online with them, and now doing it for Bosch. Bosch has the challenge to transform from Bosch thermotechnology as a B2B company going into the B2C, now becoming Bosch Home Comfort Group and start selling consumer products. And the main challenge for them is how to enter this market, and that's the reason why they asked me 3 years ago, please come on board and help us with all the challenges, find the proper setting for us, how to manage all the different countries in Europe, all the different languages, and also what should be our further plans, how we move forward with Amazon, as we were in a 1P relationship, but maybe later a little bit more on this. And yeah, handing over to Dave then.
Yeah, hi, I'm the Australian in America talking about Europe. I'm not sure how that happened in my career, but I've got a laugh as well, so it's pretty cool. Thank you, Mark, who works with me.
It's your wife, isn't it?
Yeah, she's, yeah. I work for the Breville Group. We're an Australian business. For the Americans in the room, Breville, coffee machines, juicers, ovens, you've probably got at home. We're called Sage in Europe. It's a long story why we can't use that word, Breville. So we sell kitchen appliances, designed in Australia globally. They shipped me over from Australia to UK, which is kind of the opposite direction we all went many years ago, in 2013, and we've launched the brand across Europe, starting in the UK, and we've gone right across Europe over the last 10 years. So yeah.
Thank you for that. I need to mention now, maybe briefly, that we are both working together in Europe with Pattern on the e-commerce side. I would be curious to get a glimpse from you or an understanding from you what you would say on a macro level. What are the most complex pieces? So where does the diversity in Europe show up the most? So what are the general themes that you need to tackle, and in which maybe priority would you rate them to be as important for your business?
There are many, but obviously language-wise, it is a most complex topic to have the right keywords and the listings and so on, and therefore you need specialized people. You can't do it with AI. Just putting an English text, let them translate it by themselves, it doesn't work out at the end. And also this cross-border topic is quite a huge issue in Europe, when you have different price structures, and it's easy for the customer to buy in different countries with a mouse click. And yeah, I think these two things are for us as Bosch the most important ones which we need to take care of.
Yeah, and I think for us launching across Europe, there's just a lot more work to do. Our biggest single retailer, bricks and mortar retailer, is only 7% of our business, which for my American counterparts, you know, they're probably their biggest one's probably 30 odd. So, and the majority of purchases going through our bricks and mortar retailers are actually through their .coms, and 70% of our business is going through e-commerce in some shape or form. But it's, I don't know, Europe's not that. I don't think it's that difficult. Like the European people are normal people. There's two of them right here. They look and feel the same as everyone else. I think their habits, their consumer habits, are similar to what you see here locally. It's just a lot more work around language, legal setup, financial setups, legal entities, and all that kind of stuff. And by far, rather than learning all that, just engage. Absolutely, this is not for pattern, but engage partners that already know Europe. To get you past all that. It's not too difficult, just don't do it yourself. But the thing I would do is, if you are looking to launch in Europe, send your people to Europe, the people who love your brand, and then get them to drive local experts in accordance to your brand, if that makes sense.
Cool, thank you. I think maybe one of the very prerequisites, of the biggest prerequisites, is the product compliance. So can you maybe talk a little bit about, I mean, obviously we have 2 appliances brands here on stage. There's a lot more compliance questions around fashion is different, beauty is different, vitamins and supplements are different, and even more complex, I guess, to a certain extent. But maybe can you talk about the differences and how you are setting up for a proper product launch?
That is a very good question and topic. As it is very complex on our end. We have own subsidiaries in all the countries in Europe with local product manager who needs to check the local legal requirements if we are allowed to sell, for example, an infrared panel in these countries. In Germany we can do, in France we can't do because of legal restriction. It needs to be installed from a proper installer. You can't do it by yourself. It's not allowed to sell it via Amazon. This is something you only need by local language, knowledge and the people who is in the country. You can't do it just from outside then. And
yeah, when they sent me over, they said the EU's easy. It's like, it's common law, common trading area. It's all really, you know, it's all the same, the way to do business across Europe. And it's not, it's an absolute mess. Again, you know, on the single product, we have 3 different plug versions. We've got different hertz in different countries that require different motors. And you know, moving those products around is not easy. Again, we don't run our own warehousing. We use you guys for engaging with on Amazon, so we make that easier to do, and we actually run Europe. We don't have people in every country. We run it with a very small team, leaning on partners heavily. Yeah, but it's a mess. But particularly if you're selling product with an electric plug on it, it's horrible. But it's, you know, it's doable.
It's not only the product, it's also the packaging. Special requirements in each country. For France, you have to check the Triemann logo, for example, which color, which icons have to be on the packaging, and they change, luckily, every half a year. And then you go to Italy, you have different logos which you need to print on the packaging. And also when we go to Turkey, we have a legal restriction. We have to add the manufacturer information, very detailed and so on. So that's something you need experts in the countries then.
Yeah, don't want to scare people off, but it's all doable. It's all doable, right?
Exactly.
We're all doing it. It's just, you need different processes in your business as you come to Europe.
Yeah. And I think maybe coming back to the initial thought, right? We are sitting here to create some awareness. There are solutions to it, obviously, otherwise the market wouldn't be that huge. So there are customers who, I would say, have a good income and a high level of security. So they are able to invest into products, invest into their personal lives. So it's a matter of doing it right. And I think one of the first steps is then, if you're producing for the European market, that is, I think here the conclusion is like, you need to really understand the regulatory requirements, and you can do this via an internal team if your company is big enough, or by choosing the right partner. And there are various partners out there that we can also help you get in touch with, obviously. But yeah, I think that is tackling it with the right priorities.
Yeah, I think the other thing I'd add is, I wouldn't come over, in your mindset, I wouldn't go, I want to go and conquer Europe. We started with the UK, no language issues, separate plug, won a lot of certification of products, built our brand there, and then we moved into Nordics and Germany and then so on. So, it's how you eat an elephant, I think, is the thing. One bite at a time is I think, the way to approach Europe, because doing it all at once is too much.
Yeah. So that is then, again, planning it right, putting it on a time scale, not biting the full size off. That is, I think, one of the elements that are important. With I think some recent changes, and you're Australian, so you are not guilty, but we had the UK leaving the European Union a few years ago. How did you cope with those changes?
Yeah, thanks to our partner Pattern, we are now changing our setup. Before we did it by ourselves, so importing the goods from Germany to UK, or exporting and then importing. But it's too complex for our organization, and we need a partner who is quite flexible on this and could support us. And we are now on the way that you handle this for us. And also other things which we did in the past already is shipping full container from China to Europe, which de-stress our logistics, and also we could have a full container load, which is normally not possible when we, as Bosch, import products. We need to have it palletized and so on. So we are shipping a lot of air around the globe, and the Pattern, we have a lower cost per piece because we could fit more products in the container.
Yeah, Brexit honestly didn't add that much complexity outside of warehousing. The customers didn't change. They were still drinking coffee out of our coffee machines every day. So, you know, the world, you know, everyone thought everything was going to collapse, but it didn't. But, you know, a bonded warehouse was an addition, but all our warehousing is out of Czech Republic, and we already sent product out of the EU into the Nordics and Switzerland and stuff like that. So it's just extra paperwork trail, but we were already doing that for some countries in Europe, not in the EU. So it didn't add a lot, just a bit of complexity, yeah.
We are Bosch, we are always complex.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Germans like to be structured in their engineering. It's not true, everyone. It's more chaotic there than everywhere, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess as a whole, well, they laughter. I guess as a whole, that is true. And I think overall this comes to probably the same output, like doing it in a very structured way. That's probably what the Germans do. Doing it in a more pragmatic way, that's what many other cultures do. And then it ends with the same output, I would say in average. What would you say are some of the biggest growth opportunities in Europe? So which channels do you see growing? I mean, obviously, yes, e-commerce, we are all sitting here because this is an exciting part, and this is a growth opportunity. Maybe elaborating a bit more on that, but also anything outside of e-commerce. What is the things that you see excited, or what you are getting excited about?
I mean, for us, the people are drinking better coffee in Europe, so there's a change in coffee which sort of suits our product lineup. And over COVID, we were forced down the route of doing various digital things from virtual services. So you come on our website and you'll talk to somebody digitally live out of our studio in the UK, where we've got, I think, 6 language capabilities there to talk to those 450 million people on demand. It's crazy. That converts at 20% to sale, which is huge. We've leaned into TikTok Shop. We're going to be doing that with you guys soon. We were the biggest TikTok Shop event in Europe, in the UK last year. 100 grand in about 3 or 4 hours, which was mind-blowing. So much so that I forget who's the owner of TikTok, who's the guy that started it. Anyone know? But he came to our studio, which was bonkers. The guy that Mr. TikTok was in our studio, which was huge. But that's what we'll call him, Mr. TikTok.
I was told he went undercover.
Undercover, yeah, full security. And they explained who he was when we walked out, and it was incredible. But that's a growth place for us for direct sales and influencers. But you know, it's a huge digital market. As I said, I think it's 70 now, 80% of all our products are purchased digitally somehow, even via the bricks and mortar retailers. So you need to get that messaging right across the multiple languages, content that suits all of those regional differences as well. Not sure if I answered your question there.
I think you did.
I think we did.
Did Dave answer the question?
I'm not sure.
I will.
Doesn't sound like it.
Pause for a second. Questions from you.
I can't actually see anyone. Those lights are so bright.
I can't see the winner of the Ken Jennings thing. Yeah? Yeah? Jeopardy.
All right, no.
Yeah.
Without leaning too much towards pattern, how would you select a quality partner in Europe to work with?
I guess that they've got experience in the market, so you don't want someone new in that market. Because we have partners, we have 3P, warehousing partners, to distributors across Europe. But it's, I guess we look at like products that suit our type of customer. So Dyson would be a great place. If anyone touches Dyson, we would follow them. And people who are already engaged within our retail, our distribution network. Because you need to know all these intricacies. So I wouldn't trust anyone that says, I'll go learn it for you, but just look at who they're dealing with in their current brands.
We had the challenge 3 years ago to find a partner who is able to serve all 8 Amazon countries. And unfortunately, or luckily, the only partner we could find in Europe was Pattern, who has a connection already to all these marketplaces and enables us as a one-stop solution provider to start immediately selling our products in this market. We were looking for it in each country. We were able to find a company, but we don't want to have 8 different agencies to deal with. And the only European setup was able with Pattern, and also gives us the opportunities in the future to go to Middle East and other countries as well. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so assuming that you both have substantial distribution in all of Europe, like that creates challenges with... Hi. So assuming that you both have extensive distribution in Europe, that creates challenges of maintaining a somewhat unified price point across the different markets. And what has been your respective approaches to, addressing those kinds of issues that could emerge from having different price points across one economic area?
So we run a consistent promotional calendar across all of Europe, by plug. So that's one thing. So we try and activate pricing from our side in terms of promotions equally everywhere at the same time. Outside of that, for people who haven't worked in Europe, we're not allowed to talk price with our retail partners. And I think we've got some lawyers in the room. It's like we get advised all the time to never have that conversation. So I think one of the key things, this is how we found Pattern, is we found them via Voorhees, their legal partner, who we engaged to help clean up the market for unauthorized sellers. There's a whole session on that, on how to do that. That was a huge part, is to get the dirty sellers off of our product. And then I think the next step we took is we transitioned, or in the process of transitioning from 1P to 3P, which was pretty gutsy, I think, but we're doing that right now. So now we can run a promotional plan with someone we can pick the phone up to, as we do with our other retailers. So for us, it's that consistent approach. And we're seeing, now we've changed from 1P to 3P, and with Voorhees shutting accounts down for us, that when we assess price, it's moving to where we would like it to go. We can't direct it to go there, but that's how we've gone there.
Yeah, on top of your promotion calendar, which we have also in place, we are balancing out the different tax rates in Europe, and also the buying powers of the customers, which is in some parts of Europe less than in others. But overall, we have a European pricing structure in place, which avoid cross-border sales and helps us to maximize our margin.
Yeah, same for us. We price retail down and then try and control as much as we can.
And you will never get to 100% control. And obviously, there is no such thing as a map in Europe. But this is probably, if we can conclude that from here, choosing your partners wisely, working very closely with them, and then also working on this harmonized promotional calendar. These are a couple of the key elements. Selective distribution is, let's say, probably the top-notch answer. There are intermediate solutions if you want to appoint authorized sellers on marketplaces specifically. That legislation has just changed 2 years ago. So since then, there's actually an easier way to control who is your authorized seller on a respective marketplace. That does not mean that anything outside of the marketplace is happening. Right? So that's what you would still need to take and get a handle on.
I can't stress your point enough. Choose your partner wisely, who you want to work with. There's only one cake to share. It doesn't make sense to have 100 online partners to selling the same product on the same platform. What we are doing in Europe is we have selected the 3 most important ones for us in each country, and these are the partners which we are working with or planning to work with, and this makes us easy to convince now in the second step also retailers to list our products as they see there's a more or less stable pricing in the market. When they check online, we have built trust and confidence online with nice reviews, and when the customer goes in the future then in the retail store, as you ask also further plans, the retail stores like Best Buy, here in Europe it's MediaMarkt or DIY stores. They see they have the same price online and offline. So they choose a place where they fit best to the customer and not by price. And I think that's also our way to success, to get the right distribution in place.
Question for you. Over here. See you looking around.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. Just out of curiosity, I mean, you talked a lot about like the benefits of having that essentially consolidated like logistics strategy, which is a huge deal in Europe. I'm curious to learn a bit more about your experience like on the traffic side, especially when you're launching new products into the area. Outside of the traditional Amazon advertising tools that are available to you and ad types, like are you finding any success with anything else off platform, off of Amazon, driving traffic to those listings?
It's for us, it's all about influencers. You know, I think we've got an engaging topic in coffee. Coffee's 85% of our business, so that peer-to-peer stuff is huge. Influencer stuff is massive, driving traffic to us. Yeah, again, it's a huge digital market. Evidently, we did a study that before people buy one of our machines, they go to 16 different websites or digital touch points. So it's about us doing the hard work and engaging with the people who have the voice in that market. That's driving most of our traffic, is from there.
And for us, it's letting our products tested by agencies and spread these test results. Most of the time, they're extremely good, and is advertising for the product more or less than for free.
Just
Don't be
quick follow-up.
don't be sandbagging there. The test winner for air purifiers was the Bosch air purifier just beginning of this year. Since then, we had a nice spike in traffic and also sales. So yeah, I think these are, and Dave, you mentioned yesterday that there's also like, I mean, you have a nice conversion from offline to online, right? You mentioned the barista event in Hamburg that has been run.
Yeah.
Drove a huge.
They were live coffee festivals and the reason we go there is to engage the audience who's talking online the most, and you know we sell a lot of product there as well, D2C. But it's all about engaging with the audience, and that sort of solves the language piece as well, because everyone wants their influencer in their own language, particularly as we go into the Middle East as well as. Which is the next challenge, so, yeah.
Sorry, I think I just cut off a question.
I think he changed his mind. I changed my mind again. Follow-up question. Those agencies that you were referencing that you're working with on the influencer side, what percent are you reaching out directly to influencers?
Yes.
Versus what percent are you working through through those agencies to help with the traffic?
So the question was on the influencer side. I think it was only half of it was hearable to everyone. On the influencer side, what percentage is?
What percentage do you reach directly out to influencers versus working through agencies that manage like a portfolio of micro to mid-sized influencers?
It's probably different for us than other brands just because we're in coffee machines and everyone's talking about coffee at the moment. So we do most of the work ourselves, and this is why I'm saying send one of your brand people to Europe to run the thing because you want to take that passion over with your brand. We have traditional PR agencies that are moving more down the influencer side than traditional PR, and then I'm talking with pattern, what's it called? Pattern community, not pattern community.
Creators.
Pattern creators to try and align that to the affiliate marketing going directly into Amazon and via TikTok. There's a session on that, so I'm super excited to try and get a direct link off of that ROI that we'll spend there. But we run with a pretty small marketing budget, so a lot of it we do ourselves, which is doable.
Yeah, we tried some influencer marketing, but we weren't successful in the beginning, and we're focusing now only on Google and Amazon. Our products are not so fancy, and it's not really a good fit for influencer. That's what we realized as an outcome from our tests.
Cool, I see you guys now.
I was just wondering if you went ahead and established a lot of brand awareness through sort of if you went ahead and established brand awareness through B2B channels before you made a decision to launch D2C through Amazon Europe. Did you think that was important to have that established first?
No. Absolutely not.
No.
That's it.
I think our customers are engaging wherever the hell they want to engage. Amazon is a big part of that. We heard this morning 60% of search is starting there. So
same in Europe.
Every retailer says don't go on Amazon, but we went there from day one, and I would absolutely do that and just force it through.
Yeah, it's the same for us. Totally different customer behavior, and B2B was not important to launch. And the B2C portfolio is completely independent. We are an own business unit also, so nothing in relation to it.
Yeah, to go to Europe without the biggest digital people in that process would be the worst thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that maybe to reiterate, 60% of the searches, as in the US, also in Europe, start on Amazon. So it's the biggest shopping window that you have. And then I think it comes as the follow-up points to that. That's what we discussed earlier. It's the consistency, how you deliver your brand experience on Amazon. Then other retail partners will follow that example. And I think talking about selective distribution earlier and so forth, I think if you have a partner that is consistently, or you do it yourself, that is consistently displaying your brand experience on Amazon, others will not see the need to use any, let's say, the price as the selling factor, as the conversion factor. They will then more focus on driving traffic to your products, putting your products in the right shelves, and driving for the conversion of the product, because they earn more money with it. So I think that's the flywheel that is underneath, and that needs to be put in place in principle to be successful. More, please.
You had about 12 questions for us.
Yeah, I think it was great.
We may have to go back to your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think my questions are what the audience asked, what I asked you. Maybe you want to talk about what you see in the future, what will be the opportunities that you have as a brand, diversifying portfolio. We talked about launching a consumer brand. We talked about conquering the market on the coffee side. Just curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I think
as what will come in 5 years, what will come in 10 years.
I think our immediate, so we've gone through COVID, which was really good for us because people like to drink coffee every day, so that went to home. But then, post that, it's been a pretty turmoil period for us. A few wars within our region and whatnot. caused the cost of living crisis, so the economic situation hasn't been great. We're all coming out of that, which is huge. So I think we've gone from a period where we've been hustling, and to use some terms from yesterday, we would take any sale to make our number. This next period for us, with a better economic outlook, it's about getting, not every sale is a good sale, as we heard yesterday, getting more control, selling to less people, and then from a marketing perspective, driving a content-led approach off of our platforms, using the multitude of experts in our space, is what we'll be focusing on. And then the other thing we're trying to do with Pattern, which we're not sure if we'll succeed here, is to use Pattern to launch products only on Amazon. So our second tier products, we've got a huge tail of products that marketing can never touch. So we're trying to work out if there are purely digital Amazon ways to launch our second tier products. So I think that's our opportunity. And then the expansion into Middle East is what's going to keep us busy for the next few years. And if you want to talk legalities in the Middle East for another hour, we can do that, because that's just the next level again. It's crazy.
We'll just get David on stage then.
Yeah.
See here.
Yeah, for us important for the next years will be the expansion of the portfolio. And that's also one of the features which you as Pattern will help us with, is finding the right product in the right category, to have a complete product portfolio which fits to retailer needs then and customer needs, and to scale our Amazon sales and more marketplace sales and generate, and at the end to become much more relevant for our partners then. At the moment we are very limited in product portfolio, also in turnover, and this is sometimes a barrier to list our products at retailers. As I said, for 1-2 products it doesn't make sense, but in a couple of years when we come up to 10 products, 15 products, it's much more relevant and interesting for them.
I think the other thing I'd say is don't forget about Europe. Getting that diversity around the global markets sort of offsets a Trump tax in a key category that's hitting us, or whatever it might be, is happening around the world. But having that balance from currency movements and all that kind of stuff certainly helps us. About 25% of our business is in Europe. It didn't used to be 10 years ago. So that balance for the global business is a huge piece for us as well.
Well, so you're getting more attention, probably also more.
Never have enough attention, but you know, everyone's excited about China or whatever it is at the moment. But yeah, we keep hustling. But yeah.
And maybe within Bosch, can I ask you, Jason, how well is the move over to the B2C side with the home comfort being perceived? Would be, I think, maybe also for the audience a cool question. If you don't want to, that is totally
No,
fine.
I can do. It's part of our daily tasks to convince every people that this is the right direction the company is moving. We are a company of 14,000 people doing 5 billion euro turnover with traditional heating boilers and heating devices, and now coming up with a new hobby, doing consumer stuff, a complete new world. And sometimes the question came up, are we going in the right direction? Does it make sense for the company? And always showing the climbing numbers proves our concept. Yes, it's correct. We are engaging more with the customers and also helping to subsidize our existing business. Because with comfort and well-being, we are part of the living environment of our customers. We are helping them to have a healthier life with air purifier, portable ACs, and heating blanket, for example. So they engage with our brand every day. And when they came now, they have the need to buy a new boiler, for example, which happens every 20 to 30 years. They have Bosch in mind. And that's our intention, to support and underlying our existing business with the new consumer stuff done.
Thank you. And I personally obviously enjoy that you both mentioned for your future plans that Pattern will play an important role. That was not meant to be the theme of this discussion, but
You did fly us a long way here.
Yeah.
Took us out for beers and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I take it with this. That is good. Dave, maybe one last thing. We talked about cold brew yesterday. Is there something or no?
No, we don't think there's anything in cold brew. We wouldn't be working on that.
Okay. Sorry.
No, we as a like with anyone, we're all working on new products. I'd rather not talk about those ones.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay. Taking more questions from the audience.
Yes.
The winner.
The winner. I forgot your name. Give him a mic. This guy loves a microphone.
This one's for David.
That's me.
How come you stopped doing TikToks?
Huh?
I read through the comment section on the TikToks for the coffee machines, and they really liked you, but you haven't seen anything else.
Yeah. I don't know. My market. Yeah. If you look back on YouTube, that's how we launched in the UK. We did our own YouTube stuff, but just good, honest stuff like we're hearing that the content providers want us to do. Why do I stop? I put on about 30 kilos, and I looked at myself in a more recent one, and I just didn't like what I saw, so I stopped doing it. But I'm trying to lose weight, so maybe I'll get me back in front of the camera again.
Shall we elaborate
Nice to
more
be
about it?
recognised. Yeah.
Like there.
Can you explain a little bit more about your process for localizing content for the different countries and how you go about exploring the unique needs of each?
That's very easy. We have an English form and put it over to pattern, and they do everything for us. So
Or what are some of the interesting things you've found out as you've explored that?
So it's really difficult and expensive to localize the content. We're not very good at it at all as a business. So we take our global content and translate it. This is why we have the need to work with other content providers that are local. And we can only do that because our product is, there's a lot of talkability about it. So, and that's how we solve it. With a bigger marketing budget, we would do much more localized stuff. As moving into the Middle East, we're going to have to really localize there 100%, because they don't want translated content, and they want local people speaking Arabic to talk. But we'll go down the same route again, finding the local influencers to solve it that way.
the most challenging part for us is to redefine the marketing language or the claim. In English, it sounds always nice. When they translate it in France or French or Spanish,
every
it doesn't
German
make any
word's
sense.
got about 40 letters in it.
Yeah.
It's impossible to...
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's getting easier as well with translation for packaging and all that kind of stuff. That whole process, it used to be a huge part of our budget, and it's shrinking quickly as technology is helping.
So I think generally the differentiation between translation and then localization.
Yeah.
And localization means really getting it in front of the customer in the way they prefer to get it. I think the thing that I'm quite excited about is the AI translation. That works already, I would say, fairly well. But where this becomes then really interesting is in the next iteration, when you let AI analyze the translation that it just generated and ask it if this will suit the customer needs in the Spanish market, for example, compared to the German market. So this is my standard example. The German customer is very technical. They want to know exactly the dimensions, how much watt it eats per hour, and or kilowatt that it eats per hour, and stuff like that. The Spanish customer is much more emotional, so they want to be addressed in a totally different way. And if you can I ask AI to analyze the translation and then, based on the findings, then spit out a new translation that is more suited to the local needs, I think that's where the machine becomes that is an endless cycle, which will always optimize on the go. So that's, I think, what the long-term probably vision on that is. Right now, we have local language translators that are reviewing the AI-generated translations, so they are localizing them.
I think the AI stuff that David was talking about this morning in the first session will help us with the localized wording settling on Amazon and then follow through to our D2C sites. I think that'll be a big piece for us as well.
Yeah, this content brief will be available in any language, so it will be.
That was another plug, by the way. Yeah, it's good. Fun. No worries. It's 3 now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe a whole bottle.
Yeah, fine. All right.
Great, thank you.
Cool.
One more? Oh, we are running over already.
That's a good sign, huh?
Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, I would take one more if there's one. If there's none.
So can I, from our side, I think I would, if you're going to go to Europe, take your own people there to take your brand passion there, hire experts in their field to do the tricky stuff, absolutely hire local salespeople because the retail environment around Europe is very tricky and there's a lot of really clicky. But make sure you take your own people there to drive your brand into that team. And a digital first everything, because that's how the Europe is. Yeah, that's it. And use pattern. That's 4.
Okay, we have a good night out.
Yeah.
Jason, anything to add?
Perfect closing words, I would say. Nothing to add. You need local people. Full stop. That's
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
my pleasure.